Hey everyone, welcome back to the Incredible India podcast series. I'm Sam, and today we are venturing into a corner of the subcontinent that, frankly, doesn't always get the historical spotlight it deserves. I have Taylor here who's been diving deep into the source material on the Ahoms of Assam.
It's a truly immense story, Sam.
Yeah.
Our mission today is to maybe move beyond the usual narratives and really unpack the legacy of the Ahom kingdom. The sources paint this picture of a civilization defined by, well, continuous resilience, incredible ingenuity, and this unique capacity for integration.
Integration.
This was a realm that successfully defied conquest for 600 years. Think about that. Thriving in the Northeast while, the rest of India was constantly being reshaped by shifting imperial ambitions.
6 centuries. That kind of longevity it's almost unheard of in South Asian history, which is precisely why we're calling this the kingdom that never fell. It's quite the hook, isn't it?
It really is. An epic set right there in the mist-kissed heart of India's northeast where the mighty Brahmaputra flows.
Okay, so let's start at the very beginning of this remarkable story. 1228 CE. Who arrived, and why was their approach so fundamentally different from maybe other incoming groups?
Okay, let's unpack this. So in 1228, a Thai prince named Sukafa crossed the rugged Patkai Hills. He came from what is now modern-day Myanmar. And what's truly fascinating, really, is that he didn't arrive just thinking about conquest and seizure. His goal seemed to be more about long-term settlement, which meant he arrived as a cultivator, and a builder.
A cultivator, arriving to build a kingdom. That almost sounds like a contradiction. I mean, if you focus on settlement, didn't that immediately put him at odds with the established indigenous tribes, the local chiefs? How do the sources reconcile this idea of peaceful synthesis with, well, the reality of establishing a new ruling power?
Yeah, that's a really important question. The synthesis wasn't instantaneous or completely without friction, but his approach was definitely strategic. Sukafa brought with him this really sophisticated knowledge of wet rice cultivation, which was a major technological upgrade for the fertile Brahmaputra Valley. And this wasn't just a lifestyle change, it was an economic foundation. By introducing this intensive high-yield agriculture, he basically provided a path to prosperity that could benefit the whole region.
So the key was economic benefit, not just sheer military might at the start.
Precisely, yeah. Rather than just displacing the existing local power structure, these chiefs known as the Barabuyans, he actively chose integration. He blended his Thai lineage, his language, his customs, quite harmoniously, actually, with the indigenous Assamese culture. And this policy, this integration over displacement, is what created the Ahom civilization itself. This structural piece, built on shared agricultural prosperity and accepting local customs, that's what allowed the kingdom to blossom. It became one of South Asia's most remarkably stable indigenous states.
It sounds like they fundamentally tackled the problem of governance by focusing on practical, shared resources and inclusivity right from the ground up.
Absolutely. Their governance system was pretty advanced for its time and built on inclusion. The sources really highlight that it was a polity where merit could genuinely outshine birth. Unlike many surrounding kingdoms where power was purely hereditary, the Ahom administration, especially those powerful positions like the Borfukan, the great general or commander, or the Borgohain, the counselor, these were often filled based on competence.
Right.
That internal stability was just crucial. It was the bedrock of their longevity.
Which naturally brings us to their reputation as the warriors of the Brahmaputra. Because while their foundations might have been peaceful and agricultural, they became fiercely formidable when challenged.
Yeah.
How do you maintain stability for 6 centuries against the relentless pressure of, say, the Mughal Empire?
Well, if you connect this to the bigger picture of India back then, the sheer political and military pressure was enormous, right? The Ahomans' answer was kind of simple in concept. Structural organization, really leveraging their local resources. They successfully resisted, get this, 17 documented Mughal invasions.
17? That's just an unparalleled record.
It really is. Imperial ambition, no matter how powerful, just could not subdue this corner of India.
17 is an astonishing number. But we need to understand how they did it. What was the specific organizational mechanism? How did they translate that agricultural stability into military strength?
Okay, this is where we absolutely have to talk about the PEC system. This was an incredibly unique administrative and military system. So instead of collecting land revenue through cash or grain taxes like most places, the state demanded compulsory labor or military conscription from the adult male population. These were the pikes.
So Everyone owed service directly to the state, not just money or goods.
Exactly. Every able-bodied man was a potential soldier or a laborer for public works or a craftsman. This system ensured two really key things. Vast public works could be completed without crippling taxation, and the Ahoms could raise a massive, highly motivated standing army on pretty short notice. It was maybe the ultimate expression of that merit over birth idea we talked about, because promotion within the pack system was often based on demonstrated ability, not just your family name.
That structural ability to mobilize, that must be the secret sauce to their defiance.
Yeah.
And the centerpiece, the absolute legend of this resistance, has to be the Battle of Sirhait in 1671.
Yeah.
Tell us about the hero of that moment, Lachit Borphichan, and the tactics he used.
Right. The hero was the legendary Ahom general, Lachit Borphichan. So, by 1671, Mughal forces had pushed deep into Assam. They had superior numbers, more firepower.
The odds were stacked against the Ahoms.
Totally. But Lachit understood the terrain like nobody else. He didn't meet them head-on in open ground. He was smarter than that. He forced a naval confrontation on the narrow channels of the Brahmaputra right near Guwahati.
He used the river itself as a force multiplier. Clever.
He did. Brilliantly. He deployed these amazing guerrilla and naval tactics using small, fast Ahom boats to just maneuver around the huge, slower Mughal war vessels. He basically turned the monsoon season and those narrow river passages into a death trap for the invaders. But the story, it's truly immortalized by his personal commitment.
Yes, I think we absolutely have to share the quote that defines him. It's powerful.
Indeed. It's the ultimate statement on duty, really. Lachit's famous words have echoed through centuries. My king's honor is worth more than my life. And the Ahoms emerged absolutely victorious. They drove the Mughals out and solidified Assam as the one unconquered region. This wasn't just a military win. It was this profound statement that, courage and local strategy could actually triumph over a massive centralized empire.
So their political existence was secured by war, but their long-lasting legacy that seems built on their organization and these incredible architectural achievements. Let's move to Sivasagar, the heart of the empire, where that Paiklik labor system really manifested in stone.
Yeah.
What can we still see there today?
Oh, Sivasagar truly breathes history. Yeah, if you visit, you just encounter incredible medieval engineering. Take the Rangar, for instance. It's often called Asia's oldest amphitheater.
Wow.
It's this magnificent two-storied oval pavilion they use for royal games, especially these highly competitive buffalo fights and other big celebrations. It's basically their version of a public stadium.
Impressive. And then there's the Talatal Gar, which sounds like something far more complex than just a palace, right?
It is. It's this monumental, multi-level palace complex. It's famous for its medieval engineering, including multiple subterranean levels and these secret tunnels.
Secret tunnels.
Yeah, apparently connecting it to the nearby Dikau River, a classic defensive feature, It really demonstrates just how sophisticated their builders were. But the engineering genius goes beyond just sheer size.
Wait, I remember reading something fascinating about the materials they used in these grand structures. It wasn't just standard stone and mortar, was it? Something unique.
No, exactly. And this really underscores their local ingenuity. Ahom builders developed this unique, highly durable concrete. The sources describe a specialized mortar made from sticky rice, eggs, molasses, and fish, this kind of organic mixture that provided incredible structural integrity. It allowed these massive structures, like the Talatal Gar and the huge Sivasagar tank, which is this massive artificial lake, dug without modern tools to endure centuries of humid climate and even seismic activity.
Wow. That's such a powerful example of how culture, agriculture, and construction technology were all interlinked within that Paik system. Just brilliant.
Precisely. And speaking of endurance, my personal favorite architectural detail might be the Namdang Stone Bridge. Carved from a single massive piece of rock back in 1703, it still bears modern traffic today. Can you imagine?
Still in use. That's incredible.
It's the silent, functional monument to Ahom craftsmanship and their ability to build structures that were literally designed to last forever.
So the legacy is physical, definitely tangible, but it's also written. We absolutely need to discuss the Baranjas Assam's unique time capsules.
The Baranjas. They are immensely valuable, and they offer a huge lesson in statecraft, I think. They stand among the earliest and most systematic examples of historiography, of history writing in India. The Ahoms were meticulous state-sponsored record keepers. They documented absolutely everything: royal decrees, detailed weather patterns, rituals, diplomatic correspondence, war strategies.
That reverence for documentation, That feels key to their resilience, doesn't it? It's not just recording history. It's like establishing an institutional memory for the whole kingdom.
Absolutely. To read the Burunjis is almost like stepping into the organized mind of a civilization that valued both record and reason. It shows a kingdom that was self-aware, constantly learning from its past mistakes and successes. The Burunjis were crucial, I think, for maintaining a unified cultural and political identity, no matter who was actually sitting on the throne.
That institutional memory is such a powerful tool for survival. Okay, now let's shift focus a bit. From the glorious ruins of the royal past to the living culture today. Because the spirit of Assam clearly survived the political end of the kingdom. That culture is still thriving, right?
It truly is. Assam is this land where spirit, story, and wilderness just intertwine effortlessly. It's quite beautiful. To understand the sort of cosmic symbols that define the region, you really have to look at Guwahati and the Kamakhya temple on the Neelachal Hills.
This is one of the most revered places in the entire subcontinent, isn't it?
Yeah.
A major pilgrimage site.
It is, yeah, because it's one of the major Shakti Pithas. It's this highly sacred devotional center dedicated to the mother goddess, often associated with the goddess of creation and fertility. It's this massive ancient celebration of primal feminine energy and life-giving power. And the sheer scale of devotion during the Ambubachi Mela, it's staggering. It celebrates the sacred cycle of nature itself.
And that reverence for the land and water, which the Ahoms clearly championed through their agriculture and even their naval defenses, that's still palpable in the region's ecology today, I imagine.
Oh, absolutely. It is so visible in what some call the world's oldest wilderness, Kaziranga National Park, a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It's home to those majestic one-horned rhinoceroses, wild elephants, migratory bar-headed geese, just incredible biodiversity. And you could argue that the Ahom tradition of revering the land, of ensuring a balance between humans and nature, established centuries ago, provided the cultural context for the conservation ethos that still defines this region today.
Kaziranga is just phenomenal, a must-see. But let's move downstream along the Brahmaputra to a place that sounds almost like a living poem. Majuli.
Majuli, yes. It's often called the spiritual cradle of Assamese culture. It's known as the world's largest river island. Though, sadly, it is slowly disappearing due to erosion, which is a real concern. But here you find the Setras, these serene Vaishnavite monasteries founded by the great saint philosopher Srimanta Sankardev. And these aren't just religious centers, they are vital cultural preservers.
So they focus heavily on the arts, keeping traditions alive.
Absolutely. The Setras preserve unique traditions like Satriya, which is a recognized classical dance form now, along with intricate mask making and storytelling traditions. It's a world where art is a form of prayer and time kind of moves to the rhythm of the river. It acts as this anchor for Assamese identity through centuries of change.
It provides such a vibrant contrast to the sheer scale and power of the grand ruins back in Sivasagar. And we should probably also note that you can find the quieter, more modern rhythms of life too, maybe towards Jorhat, with its emerald tea gardens and colonial-era bungalows. It's a good pause, kind of showing the various layers of history, royal, indigenous, colonial, that all coexist there.
It really shows the full tapestry of Assam.
Yeah.
But getting back to the Ahom political legacy specifically, their incredible 6th century reign finally did end. It ended in 1826 with the Treaty of Yandabo, following this period of destabilization caused by the Burmese Wars.
Right. So after 600 years of resisting the Mughals and pretty much everyone else, they eventually fell due to internal conflict and new external pressures from Burma, then the British. But their cultural influence clearly did not end there.
Oh, far from it. What they left behind was this enduring culture defined by, I'd say, inclusivity, scholarship, and just an unyielding spirit. Every brick in the Rangar, every folk song still sung about Lashit Borfurkan, every one-horned rhino grazing peacefully in Kaziranga. They all carry the same essential message, don't they? Assam never truly bowed culturally.
The Ahoms didn't just rule Assam. In a way, they became fused with the very identity of the land and its people. And maybe that is the true measure of a kingdom that never truly fell. The cultural resilience is what survived the political defeat.
And that leads us to a final thought for you, the listener, to consider. When we look at the longevity of a civilization like the Ahoms, how much did valuing that meticulous historical record-keeping, the Burunjis, how much did that fundamentally contribute to their long-term cultural resilience? Think about the power of writing your own history, documenting your own story, and how that identity can persist, even long after the political structure itself falls apart.
A really great question to end on, something to chew on. Now, if you do decide to travel to Assam or elsewhere in India after hearing this, we'd have a recommendation. Five Senses Tours organizes tours across India, which are immersive cultural experiences. You can email them at contact@fivesensestours.com. That's contact at the numeral 5sensestours.com. Or you can WhatsApp them at +919 8456 77446.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us for this deep dive into the truly astonishing Ahom legacy.
We'll catch you next time on the Incredible India podcast series.